Welcome to MRKT 11028 Digital Marketing. This is week 2, and we'll be looking at chapter 2, which is about strategic e-marketing and performance matrix. So the quote that you see on the first slide, on the title slide, is actually quite interesting. It says it's much easier to double your business by doubling your conversion rate than doubling your traffic. What it basically means is that it's not enough to have a lot of visitors coming to your websites when they are not buying anything. So traffic means how many people are visiting your website. This is actually similar to a offline or a physical store as well. People may come to your store a lot, but if they don't buy anything, the company doesn't make any profit, doesn't make any money. And same thing applies to an e-marketing or an online website as well. So that's what it says. It's much easier to double your business by doubling your conversion rate, which basically means if you are able to sell your product over online, then doubling your traffic. So the focus should be on conversion. The focus should not be on traffic only. Traffic is necessary, obviously. You need people to come to visit your website, but you also want to make sure they buy the products or services that you're offering through online. Okay. With that premise in mind, the Chapter 2 objectives include, well, as we have said, it's looking at strategic planning, e-marketing strategy. So this chapter has 2 objectives, basically, looking at strategy, looking at e-business strategy, e-marketing strategy, what they mean at the activity, business process, and enterprise level. And the second objective is to look at performance matrix. So we will spend a bit of time looking at some of the performance matrix that companies use to judge whether their plan is working well or not. That is the reason we need to look at the matrix, because matrix are the only things that tell us whether the plan we have in place are working or not. So we look at matrix in general, but then also we look at some of the performance matrix for social media marketing or social media communication. So what is strategic planning? The process of developing and maintaining a strategic fit between organizations' goals and capabilities and its changing market opportunities. Essentially, what it boils down to is that any organizations have goals, but their goal must fit with their capabilities. They should be capable to reach that particular goal. And obviously, the market opportunities change because the environment change. You just look around you. Environments are changing constantly. Interest rates going up, housing prices may be going down, or some sector doing well, some sector not doing well. So things change, and that's the reason we need to be constantly on the lookout for any changes of our plans. We need to make any changes to our plans as soon as we see the organization, or as soon as we see the environment is not doing so well, or maybe doing well. Whatever the case, the idea is that strategic planning should be flexible. It should not be static. And that's where the matrix come in, because matrix tell us whether we are doing well, whether we need to make any changes. So the process, strategic planning process, will identify firms' goals, and firms' goals could be, we want to grow, we want to go to a stronger competitive position. That could be a goal. We want to expand our geographic scope. So we are operating in Australia, let's go in New Zealand, let's go to Asia or Europe. So that could be a goal. There could be other objectives, industry, products, channels. We want to, for example, we could say that we want to expand our product portfolio. We want to not just sell 1 or 2 products, but we want to introduce new products into the market. That could be a goal. Now, this textbook uses a particular model, which is called the ESP model, Environment, Strategy, and Performance. Essentially, what this model says is that environment, strategy, and performance are linked to each other. And the environment will be able to tell us, or will be able to help us in develop our SWOT analysis, which is strength, weaknesses of the organization, and what opportunities and threats are there in the environment. And from the SWOT analysis, we will be able to develop our strategy. And lastly, we will look at the performance via matrix so that we can evaluate the effectiveness and efficiency of e-business or our e-marketing operations. This particular slide, which is from your textbook, illustrates this particular concept quite well. So what we have is the environment, and although they have not put everything there, but this is basically pastel. So if you have studied pastel framework before, then this is basically pastel. So it's political, economic, social, technological, environment, and legal. So those things are discussed here, including competition, as you can see. And then what it's basically saying is that we have, because this is an e-marketing or e-business unit that we are talking about, so it's the internet and how this internet interacts with the environment. And then we have the market, which is basically the customers. And you can, as you can see, the customer is holding, you might say, pots of money or bags of money. We want to grab some of those money. That's the purpose of business. We want to satisfy their needs and wants so that they will spend the money with our company rather than another company. Okay, so once we have done the pastel analysis, which is essentially this and which is part of the environment, we can develop our SWOT analysis. In other words, we can identify, and this is a funnel. I really like this concept that the SWOT analysis is funnel, because once we have done the pastel, what we are trying to do is look at the important aspects of the environment, and that and basically we are trying to narrow down to the important aspects of the environment, and that means we are looking at our strengths, we are looking at our weaknesses from an internal company perspective, and we are looking at opportunities and threats from an external environmental perspective. And from our SWOT analysis, we develop our e-business strategy. Our e-business strategy is the overall business strategy. From there, we develop our e-marketing strategy or e-marketing plan, which is one of your assessment anyway, assessment 3. And then we develop our e-marketing strategy and the e-marketing mix CRM. So you'll be doing actually this part, including the SWOT analysis and environment analysis in your assessment 3 anyway. You'll be also looking at performance matrix. We'll talk about e-marketing plan in a bit more detail next week. But the idea is that once we have developed our strategy, which is the S, our e-marketing strategy and our e-marketing mix and the CRM, they're two separate things, by the way. Then we develop our performance matrix, which is part of evaluation. So we can, and we'll look at performance matrix in this week's lecture anyway. But the idea is that we will be looking at our matrix and trying to determine whether our strategy is successful or not. If not, we go back and obviously redo our strategy. But that is the ESP framework, quite neat, and I think to the point as well. Okay, so from strategy to electronic strategy, we have already discussed some of this already, and these are a bit formal ways of looking at it. So strategy is the means to achieve a goal. E-business strategy is the deployment of enterprise resources to capitalize on technologies for reaching specified objectives or goals, you might say, that ultimately improve performance and create sustainable competitive advantage. An e-marketing strategy, which is part of the e-business strategy, is the design of the marketing strategy that capitalizes on the organization's electronic or information technology capabilities to reach specified objectives. So these are a bit formal definitions of e-business strategy and e-marketing strategy. Now, another related concept is business model. So what is business model? Business model is a method by which the organization sustains itself in the long run and includes its value proposition for partners and customers as well as revenue streams. In short, what it basically means is that business model tells the company, what value are we providing to our customers and to our partners, and how we are earning our revenue. What are our revenue stream? Is our revenue stream through subscription? Is our revenue stream through selling our products only? What is our revenue stream? How do we earn our revenue? And value proposition is, what are we providing to the customer? Are we providing customer convenience? Convenience is a value. Are we saving money for the customers? What is the value that we are providing? So the business model kind of integrates the value proposition and the revenue source, so the company can look at it almost holistically and say that whether we are doing things perfectly or not. Now, there are various business models available that you can look at over the internet. We are not going to go into that much detail. This is not a unit on business model, but that's the whole idea behind business model. Looking at it holistically, looking at what are we providing to our customers, what are our cost structures, and how we are earning our revenue. So as you can see, selecting a business model, we're looking at customer value, we look at price, we look at connected activities, we look at capabilities, scope, revenue sources, how are we implementing our business model, and whether the business model is sustainable. Now, business model is used by companies, and then we narrow down, because we are discussing e-marketing or e-business here, or e-commerce. Not exactly e-commerce, but e-business and e-marketing. So we talk about e-business model. E-business model is a method by which organization sustains itself in the long run using IT, information technology, which includes its value proposition for partners, customers, as well as revenue streams. You probably see that e-business model definition and the business model definition are very, very similar, with the only difference is that in the e-business model, they talk about information technology or IT. Otherwise, it's the same. What value are we providing to our customers? And what are our cost structures? And what are our revenue sources? So as it says, e-marketing contributes to the e-business model. How? E-marketing increases benefits, which is value for the customers. E-marketing decreases costs, and e-marketing increases revenues. So when we look at e-business, and this is also from your textbook, when we look at e-business, we are looking at different types of connectivity, you might say, to the customers, with the customers, or different business models that exist in the market. So if you look at it, on the x-axis, we have got level of business impact. This is a triangle, a pyramid, level of business impact. And we have on the pyramid various levels. So we have the most basic level, which is activity. And the focus on this one, or focus of this level, is on efficiency, cost, or sales. And the way we can achieve that is through, or some of the examples I should say, is through email and blog. So if a company is doing emailing and blogging only, their level of business impact is actually very low. They're mostly focused on cost and sales efficiency. Now, if we go a little bit up, we're looking at business process. So a company will be looking at business processes, which means they'll be looking at effectiveness, looking to keep customers, retain customers. So the focus is on customer retention. And the way they do that is through customer relationship management. Bit upper level or is the enterprise level. And enterprise level is basically looking at business transformation, competitive advantage, industry redefinition, and you have pure play as well. So enterprise, both online and offline. Dell. So Dell is a good example, or most retailers good example. Kohl's, Woolworths is a good example, because not only they have offline physical stores, they also sell through their websites online. So these are companies, enterprise level, are comprised of companies that have both online and offline commitment. Not just online, not just offline, but both. Whereas you have on top of the pyramid, pure play. And as you can see, the pure play examples are .com companies. They do not have any physical structure or physical existence. Amazon is an example, Twitter is an example, Uber is an example. So these are purely service-based organizations. Google is another example. Purely service-based organizations who do not have any physical structure through which they communicate or through which they sell their product or services to the customers. So these are called pure play companies. Airbnb is another one. Anything that is totally dependent on the internet, basically. So e-business classification, these are mentioned here. So you have the activity level. Remember that was the lowest level. So just order processing, online purchasing, email, that kind of thing. Go a bit higher up the pyramid, we're talking about business process level, where we are talking about customer relationship management, knowledge management, enterprise resource planning, database marketing. And once you go up a bit more, we're talking about the enterprise level. We're talking about e-commerce, portal, social networking, broker models, online exchange, hub, online auction, agent models, which are like eBay. eBay is another example of pure play company. So these are different types of e-business model classifications. And the following slides basically give you some definitions. So e-commerce refers to online transactions. Social commerce uses social media to facilitate online sales. So if you go to Facebook, they have a very good, how should I put it, very good page, which is called Marketplace. I don't know how many of you use Marketplace, but Marketplace is a fantastic example of social commerce, where social media is used to sell products and services as well. Direct distribution is when manufacturers sell directly to the customers. Content sponsorship is a form of e-commerce in which companies sell advertising on their web page, YouTube videos, or other online media. I don't have to tell you how often you probably get irritated when you open a YouTube video and the first thing that you see is an ad. Now, and I think you probably skip most of those ads when they give you the option to skip ads, but that's an example of content sponsorship. And a portal is a point of entry to the internet that combines diverse content from many sources. Other definitions: social network sites are those that bring users together to share interests, personal and professional profiles. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, so many are there. Online brokers are intermediaries who assist in purchasing negotiations without actually representing either buyers and sellers. eBay, good example, eBay. Manufacturer agents represent more than one seller, and then purchasing agents represent simply the buyers. Okay, we talked about pure play. So pure plays are businesses that began on the internet, as mentioned before. They represent the final level of the pyramid. Pure plays face significant challenges. They must compete as new brands. They may need to take customers away from established businesses. This is probably very true. And you have some examples: Yahoo, Google, Twitter, Flickr, Uber, eBay. And if you just think about Uber, they have taken business away from traditional taxi business. Okay, so that's a very interesting example. Performance metrics. Okay, so we move to the second section of this week's lecture, which is performance metrics. So performance metrics, also called key performance indicators or KPI, are specific measures designed to evaluate the effectiveness and efficiency of operations online or offline. So performance metrics provide measurable outcomes. We can actually see whether the outcomes are favorable or not, whether it's doing well or not. Must be easy to understand and use, must be actionable. In other words, we can work toward it. We should not have a performance matrix which we cannot achieve. Can motivate employees to make decisions that lead to desired outcomes. In this regard, when we talk about e-marketing, we are looking into what we call web analytics. So web analytics is the e-marketing term for the study of user behavior on web pages. Now, some of the metrics that are used are click-throughs from advertising. How many people actually click on our advertisement online? How many people page views, number of comments posted on blog, number of fans on a company Facebook page, and conversions to sales. So if you go back to the first slide of today's lecture, which was the title slide, and it talked about not traffic, increase your conversion rate. That's exactly what it means. We want to increase our sales. So data for web analytics can be collected in several ways. You can use website server logs, you can use cookie files, page tags, or geolocation. In other words, you can identify where the individuals are located, where they're coming from. So metrics used to measure internet marketing performance, the ones which are mostly used, click-through rate is the most popular one, I should say, the popular one, but most used one, I should say. And then we have the web server statistics, changes in awareness, changes in purchase intent, and so forth. So these are metrics that are used to measure internet or e-marketing performance, or digital marketing performance. Another related concept is the balanced scorecard. So balanced scorecard provides a framework for understanding e-marketing metrics. The balanced scorecard has 4 perspectives: customer, internal, learning and growth, and financial. Your textbook unfortunately doesn't have a diagram for this. So this one is from a different source. What it essentially says is that the balanced scorecard looks at 4 different aspects or dimensions of an organization. It looks at the clients, which is the customers, looks at the learning and growth, which is internal, whether people are learning inside the organization, whether they're being empowered, whether they're growing, and so forth. And then looks at the internal process, which is the operation side. Are our operations effective? Are we delivering the product at the right time? Are we in the right place? And also probably looking at the quality as well. Are we producing good quality product? Are we providing good quality services? So looking at the operational side, and then looking at the financial side, which is, are we making profit? Are we achieving the return on investment that we have targeted? That kind of thing. So those are all metrics that you can look at to understand whether the organization, or for that matter, whether e-marketing is being successful or not. And these are basically discussed here. Okay, so the customer perspective scorecard includes measures such as customer satisfaction, engagement, retention. Okay, and you can look at number of visitors or percentage of visitors who return to a site, how often they actually visit, which is time between visits, or how many people abandon their shopping cart. We have all done that, I think. We have put something in the shopping cart and then we didn't purchase. So as a digital marketer, you can actually identify how many customers are doing that and so forth. Customer engagement is another aspect. So we can look at the number of comments, photos, videos that are posted on Facebook page, for example, or LinkedIn page. Internal perspective is number of customers who use the service, number of complaints, maybe in social media, amount of time to answer customer email, number of updates, so forth. Looking at learning and growth, number of new service products to market, number of customer complaints, and how long it took us to fix it, because that's the operational side. Number of conversions from online leads. And obviously looking at the financial, which is the bottom line, looking at sales growth, market share. Have we increased our sales growth? Have we achieved more market share? What is the average order value? How much are we making from individual customers? That's very important. A lot of people will go online and maybe buy once a month, maybe once a year even. And there are some people who will always buy online. And they are obviously much more profitable customer than the ones who are occasional customers. So we want to increase the number of frequent customers who buy through our online channel, for example, or our website. That should be one of the goals. Okay, now we move to social media metrics. Now, what we have here is a social media measurement pyramid, and we have different levels again on the pyramid, and we have different metrics. So for example, if you are looking at awareness and exposure, have we been able to increase our awareness and exposure? We might be looking at things like unique visitors, that is new visitors, number of page views, impressions, number of searches, search engine ranking, so forth. If you want to understand whether our brand is doing well or not, we might be looking at the share of voice, sentiment, brand influence. If we are looking at engagement, we'll be looking at content viewership, tagging, bookmarking, number of shares. If we are looking at action, we might be looking at how many people click through our advertisement, how many people filled in our registration form, how many people actually attended the event, which is the action part, how many people purchased our product, and then innovation. And that is basically how many people are sharing their ideas, or how many people are saying, well, I have spotted this particular trend, and can you as a company develop some product or service around that? So there are different types of social media measurement pyramid, levels at the social media measurement pyramid. This is an example of Google Analytics. So you can see the bounce rate is there as well. How many people bounce out. Not only that, they also classify it according to the mobile device info. So people using Apple iPhone, the session number is 2054, but the bounce rate is about 51. So about 50% of these people who use Apple iPhone bounce out. That is, they do not visit the website. Or they visit it and then they go out, basically. You can look at mobile revenue and average order value. You can also look at mobile and site revenue. You can look at campaigns that you may be testing online. We'll talk about that in marketing, e-marketing research lecture. So there are some definitions again in terms of traffic. We have referral traffic, which is basically what you get from other sites who placed your link on their website. So if you place a link on social media like Facebook, and you get people coming from that Facebook page to your website, you're talking about referral traffic. Direct traffic is the traffic which you will get when someone visits your website directly typing your browser. Okay, so they might say www. Let's say cku.edu.au. That's a direct traffic. Organic traffic is the type of traffic you will get from search engines such as Google, Yahoo, Bing, and Yandex. So someone types, Chinese food nearby, or maybe Italian food nearby, that kind of thing. Then the result that people get from Google search and then they click on it, that's an organic traffic. Social traffic is the traffic you get from social media websites, Facebook and Google+, LinkedIn. Another example of Google Analytics, specific information. So this one is a new user. How many new users or unique users that have come into this particular website? And you have the data parameter for this search. And you've got all these options, which can take a long time to understand. But the idea is you can get a lot of information, a lot of metrics using Google Analytics. You have Twitter Analytics, you have Facebook Analytics, you have analytics for all these social media pages and search engines that can help you understand whether your people are visiting your website, people are buying from your website, how much time they're spending on the websites, things like that. This is an example of Twitter Analytics. So you have impressions, engagements. Impression basically means how many people have seen your particular post, how many people have engaged, and what is the engagement rate. Brand health metrics. Some of the key categories under that are share of voice, which is the proportion of online conversations about one brand versus its competitors. You can look at sentiment, refers to the proportion of online conversation about a brand that is positive, negative, or neutral. Brand influence refers to the number of inbound links to a social media property, number of Twitter links that are retweeted, number of comments on posts, number of times content is shared or liked, or linked rather. Engagement matrix is another type of matrix. Over here, we're looking at content viewership, tagging, membership, follower, number of shares, content creation. We can measure all of those things. Action innovation, we talked about it already. Click-through, contact form completion, purchase. There's innovation matrix, which is number of ideas shared, and trend spotting. We have mentioned those as well. The whole idea is that we can use the matrix to understand whether our marketing campaign is doing well or not. If not, we go back, try to change our strategy, and then we look at our performance metrics again. So performance metrics are critical, absolutely critical in digital marketing. One of the reasons why it's critical is because we can measure it. It's easy to get metrics from Google, from Twitter, from Instagram, from Facebook. It's easy to get those things. And that's the reason we should be using metrics as much as possible in digital marketing campaigns. Thank you very much. This is the end of week 2 presentation.